of Wake Up Africa coming live all the way from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, and being the 8th of March worldwide, we celebrate International Women's Day. And I thought with the team there couldn't be a better day to celebrate all the women in the world other than today. So Wake Up Africa joins the rest of the world to celebrate International Women's Day. And I'm honored this International Women's Day to dedicate this program, the entire program, just to commend every woman, every girl, every, I mean, looking onto everything that you do, spectacular. And this is Wake Up Africa. And Wake Up Africa has an objective, as one objective, to really rewrite the narratives of Africa. As you all are aware, what the world looks onto Africa as a war deprived continent, insecurity, poverty, and everything. Is that all that we have? No, we are way better than that. But again, today, while we are looking on to changing the narratives, we'll also include looking on to all the women heroes we've had over the years, looking on to every woman's contribution in the continent, and truly celebrate everyone. So this is Wake Up Africa, the ninth episode, and I would like to start once again by wishing all women in the world happy International Women's Day. All women in Africa, you are rocking. You are rocking. They say if you educate a girl, you've educated the entire village. Okay, these are some of the quotations that, rock in Africa. If you educate a girl child, you've educated the entire village. What does that simply mean? That simply means that the value that women live in the society, not to mention that, men, bear with me today, we're celebrating women. Um, the value that a woman puts in place, you know, when they leave, when they're present, is enormous. Is enormous. And I'm celebrating women today. I am celebrating women today. So I want to bring a few lines in, including one. Probably some of us might not be aware, but the first ever International Women's Day was celebrated back in 1911, March 19th, 1911. Yes, it's been over 100 years, and we still celebrate International Women's Day today on the 8th March all over the world. Now, International Women's Day came about, to bring about the issues of gender equality. We have grown in the world that looked down on women, and then some genius, I hope I'll get the details later, but someone said, we ought to value the contributions of women in our society. We ought to bring gender into the picture, and I totally concur with them from the idea, from the onset, that yes, in order to build a sustainable world, a sustainable development, in order to bring sustainable development in our societies, we shouldn't leave anyone behind. This is why we have International Women's Day, we have International Day of Children and all that. But today the focus is on women. Women. So my data, my research begins by saying, imagine a gender equal world. Although, according to World Economic Forum, I think last year, if not last year, but one says gender equal world will only be achieved maybe, after having set all the parameters in the year 2158. So we're looking on to five generations. This is where now we will get onto an equal level, men, women, gender. So imagine a gender equal world, a world free of bias, stereotypes, and discriminations. Bias. I'm not giving you this job because you're a woman. You can't go to that school because you're a woman. Bias. Stereotypes, No, this share has always been men dominated, so women should not be given this share, should be men. Men, men, men. Stereotypes and discrimination. You see, you do not give this service or this product to a certain person because only of their gender. Now, this is the world with an equal gender, okay? A world that diverse, equitable, and inclusive. Diverse. You see, diverse as in we're not leaving anyone behind. Equitable, everyone sits on the table. And inclusive, we're not leaving anyone behind. A world where difference is valued and celebrated. Valued and celebrated. Difference. What does that mean? Okay, we're all different. Men, women, elderly, children, disabled, abled, etc., etc. Now, this is the world where difference is valued and celebrated. I'm happy that I am joined by a woman. I'm happy that I'm joined by a child. I'm happy that I'm joined by an elderly person. It is E. Together, we can forge gender equality collectively for International Women's Day 2025. We can all, which is now the theme for this year, accelerate action. Accelerate action. This is amazing. This is amazing. Gender equal world, a world which is free from bias, free from stereotypes, and free from discrimination, a world that's diverse, equitable, and inclusive, leaving no one behind, a world where difference is valued. Now, value in quotes and quotes, value, difference is value. This is critical. You know, difference is valued. Why is this critical? Because you can say, okay, so let's agree that yes, we have 50% representation of women, or 40%, or 30%, or 20%. Oh, there's one woman in the board. But again, even in their presence, you would still undermine them. You would still not give them an equal room to contest, maybe for chairmanship or for the role. So we are looking on to a world where difference is valued. Okay. And the theme, as I already said, for 2025, so every year there's a theme: accelerate action. What action do we want to accelerate? We want to accelerate removal of bias. We want to accelerate removal of stereotypes. We want to accelerate removal of discrimination against gender. We want the world to have a diverse, equitable, and an inclusive conduct. You know, a world where difference is valued. This is the action that we really want to accelerate. A world where difference is valued and celebrated. You don't just value it. You should be happy that you've brought every group of the society into place. So International Women's Day, as I said earlier, has been around for over 100 years, as have many other issues that are still impacting women advancement. Okay, we still have issues. As I said, according to World's Economic Forum's report, 2,158, maybe we would get to this level, but we can only get to this level if we really accelerate action towards getting to that level. Since 1911, International Women's Day belongs to all who care about women's equality. So it belongs to you and me. It belongs to you and me, for those who care about women's equality. Celebrate women's achievements. Raise awareness about discrimination, take action to forge gender parity. All International Women's Day activity is valid that makes Women's Day so inclusive. Now, before I go into different, groups of women that we celebrate today, before I go into these groups, I really would like everyone to have a consideration of why do we celebrate International Women's Day? Why do we celebrate International Women's Day? We celebrate International Women's Day, my dear viewers of Wake Up Africa and my dear participant of Wake Up Africa, because we value, because we really want to see inclusivity, because we want to celebrate differences that we have in the world. Okay, so if we go back into the creation, if we go back into religion, where God created a man and a woman, a female gender and a male gender. If we go back then, are we now saying that this other gender was more superior than the other? Are we saying that children were not? And every member of the community has to be valued and celebrated so that we have that just world. We have that just world. Okay. So International Women Day belongs to all who care about women's equality. Do you care? What is it that you do? And it doesn't have to start at a global level. It doesn't have to start at a regional level. It doesn't have to start at, it begins with you, the people that you associate with. What is your conduct with your family? Okay. Do you all sit on the table, eat the same meal, or men eat first and then girls eat later? Women's equality. Celebrate women's achievement. And this show today. I want to celebrate all the women in my life and their achievement, be it as little as this. You know, my little girl, she will be 4 in June, inshallah, we say. Um, has a huge impact in my life. When I get home, she runs to me, she hugs me. It's like, yo, man, anything that you bring in the house, make sure it's just all good moods and good vibes. That is the little contribution, and it's not little because all of us know the hurdles of life. And then when you go home, this is what you receive with a warm embrace from a little flower, a little love. So everyone and everyone would attest that Mother Teresa of Calcutta, the saint, once said, you might think you do not have a contribution, but everyone has a contribution. Think of an insect as little as a mosquito. How are they able to cause such an impact in the world? Malaria used to be number one killer in the world. I'm not sure if it's still number one or the NCDs now have taken over malaria. But again, as little insect as malaria has such an impact, why do you think you do not have an impact? So we accelerate action. That is the theme for 2025. We accelerate action. The World Free International Women's Day resource toolkit, etc. There's so much materials in media towards how we can accelerate action. So we're celebrating women today. Now, I did say earlier that, there are still quite a number of issues in our societies, as much as the first International Women's Day was celebrated in 1911. A couple of countries, there are like 5 countries that began and started celebrating back in 1911, 19th March, and then it was moved to the 8th of March. But those of us who care for women, we celebrate women's achievement, and this is what I want us to focus on. Now, we have different sectors in the society. We have different sectors of the economy. We have the contributions. We have women all over us. And let us start by acknowledging and appreciating all the mothers in the world. I want at this juncture to acknowledge all the mothers in the world. Now, I would categorize personally, this is me, this is not global numbers, statistics, etc., scientific, etc. No, no, no. This is me. I would categorize mothers into two main groups. Now, mothers who belong to families and single mothers. Okay. I want to appreciate you both, those in the families and single mothers. Now, single could be again into two categories, either divorced or separated by death or anything, but you're separated from your spouse, partner. But also those that, have had their beginning, from the beginning, they have their children and they're living their life all along, etc., etc., single mothers. Now, I want to celebrate all the mothers in the world, wherever you are. You know, we, your children, still look up to you with nothing less than, I'm looking onto a chicken, the way they move around with those chicks. and the way they protect them, the way they move sand, soil, stones everywhere so that their little ones are able to get some food. I'm thinking of a mother who now works tirelessly to provide for the family. I'm looking at onto a mother who has one child, two children, three children, and has to provide for herself and has to provide for the children. Have you seen those mothers passing into our streets in Africa carrying a whole load of firewood on their head and still have a little baby on their back? And this is the mother not only of one child, probably has other several children back at home or have gone to school, or some are even not cannot even afford tuition for their children. I'm celebrating you mothers. I'm celebrating you mothers who are struggling in life. I'm celebrating you mothers who, despite of all the hurdles, all the hardships, you would still give us a smile. You know, I'm celebrating you. I'm celebrating, I recall a song by Tupac, Dear Mama, when he said, you would come from work late, but you still would want to put on a table a hot plate. You would still want to see me and my sister have a good meal. You would do whatever it takes on Thanksgiving back then in November. You would make sure that there's food, there's turkey on the table to celebrate Thanksgiving. These are mothers who go beyond what it takes to make sure that I'm celebrating you. I'm celebrating your mothers. Okay. Um, there are mothers who undergo serious discrimination, serious torture in their marriages, serious abuse. I've seen mothers who are black eyed. I've seen mothers who have broken limbs and ribs, beaten left, right, and center. I've seen mothers who just hang on to that breath, their little last breath they have, from stereotypes, abusive husbands, abusive fathers. I've seen a few. I have a few would call me crying like this and that is happening. And dude, man, can you just say, let's pray about it, while someone is being tortured? I've seen mothers who have attempted either suicide or buried a couple who've literally committed suicide because they were looked down, because they were tortured, because they couldn't take it anymore. But I've also seen those who stood the trials and taste of time and they're still strong today. We celebrate you. I celebrate you. African mothers. I've seen African mothers who had to wait for their husbands come back from war, to provide for them. I've seen mothers who have gone serious mental torture, we have them in our society. This is why World Economic Forum gives us 2,158 before we get to that level where it's equal. I'm celebrating you, mothers. I was in Addis a couple of weeks ago, and there's a whole place I can't remember the name, but it's they celebrate those women with heavy loads of firewood and stuff. It's reserved, that area is preserved for them. I'm celebrating mothers who know that, my family comes first. My children go first. They will do whatever it takes to just be there for the family, to just see the family grow, to just see the family happy. I've seen mothers in Africa. I repeat, I've seen mothers in Africa who would give the food to the children and they would come with a story. No, I've already eaten. You guys just go on and eat. I'm okay. I've already eaten. I had something on my way home. But the truth of the matter is, they have had nothing but that little. Should rather go to these little ones. Look onto the bird nurturing the little ones on the nest. They would go left, right, and center and just pick the worms and come feed them. These are typical mothers in Africa. I'm not celebrating the other side. Okay, I know probably those who've not had a very good upbringing might be saying, Austin, you've never met my mom. We do not know the sacrifices they had undertaken. 9 months, you, me, in their tummies, 9 months. Okay, the humiliation they had to undergo. I'm celebrating mothers. I'm celebrating mothers who work night and day. I'm celebrating mothers in different sectors. We'll look onto the sectors a bit later on. You know, we have mothers who are working night shifts, doctors, nurses, guards, security guards. Yes. My office here, I've got like 3, 4 women coming at night, mothers. The other day I was coming up onto the elevator and, I had them complaining and they're like, dude, man, we ought to be considered that we bring more men this shifts probably. I can't recall what exactly, but they're complaining like we come for the night shifts. We do not get much more time to spend with our spouses or our children, etc. We celebrate you. I celebrate mothers who would leave whatever it takes to take care of their sick children, sick children. You know, what would a father do? A father would, and this is typically me. Last night I woke my wife up and said, "Yo, the little girl I think has fever." I celebrate mothers who would just cut their sleep, cut their working hours, forgo their salaries just to go and make sure that the little ones are okay. I celebrate mothers who take an extra mile to go and even take care of other children, not necessarily their own. We have mothers who could not bear their own children but have adopted children. That love, mm, that love. And they're there. If you ask me, I can give you names and numbers. They're there. We couldn't have children. It doesn't mean that we should have children. We know children who've been abandoned in the street. We know children, toddlers as infants, left at the hospitals, etc. But there's this one woman who says, that could have been my child. Let me raise this child up. And they give them the love like they've never seen before. I'm celebrating your mothers. I'm celebrating mothers who go to school on their, open days, parents' days, to spend time with the teachers to follow up on progress of their children. I'm celebrating you. I'm celebrating mothers whose little bonus says, my son, my daughter had been going to school without a good pair of school shoes or socks or shirt, school bag, pen, pencil. Let me buy them something from this little that I've earned today so that they're not humiliated. I'm celebrating mothers who said, we did not go to better schools, but I've struggled. I'm working very hard so that my child could go to a better school. There's that other side of the story whereby now the child does not care much, but we're not speaking about the children today. I'm celebrating women, I'm celebrating mothers now at this juncture. I'm celebrating mothers who have gone beyond to give themselves a duty of service. We have women in politics. We've had women in the liberation fronts. I can mention names, countless names. Tanzania, I think another African country recently got our president's head of state as women. I'm celebrating you, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan. Despite your mother-in-law role, you still, look on to close to 65 million Tanzanians who will also look up to you. Whatever much, whatever little this country earns, you say, no, 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 let it remain in the country. Let's bring Tanzania. Let's, come together to bring Tanzania. You're giving that, guidance. I'm looking on to women in leadership. I met an excellent woman at the African Union recently, the head of AUC um, recently. I'm celebrating you because you've given yourself beyond your family responsibilities and say, no, 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 we have roles to play. Yes, we have families, and you're looking after our families very well. We make time for the families, but we are also entrusted with roles and responsibilities. Beginning of the week, I had the pleasure to meet the Secretary General of East Africa Community. It's a woman, fantastic young lady. I'm celebrating you. She's from Kenya. I'm celebrating you. So when the world, the UN and the world says the theme for 2025 International Women's Day is accelerate action, is truly appreciating, you know, your contribution. I can speak countlessly, women everywhere. I'm looking onto women who are bus drivers, tuk-tuk drivers. They're offering services just to make the ends meet for themselves, but mostly for their families. I'm celebrating mothers. Single mothers in the world, I celebrate you. My own mother is a single mother. Lost my dad back in 97. She's raised us all single-handedly. My little brother was, I think, in P1 or P2. But she said, no, we'll stand together as a family, and we've made it through. She made sure that there's no single day we did not have a bread on the table. I celebrate you, my mother. And of course, she's one of the biggest fans of Wake Up Africa. She's never missed an episode. I celebrate you, my mother. I would still have her as a fallback plan. Mom, I'm short. Can you boost me up? And she would always be there for us, me and my siblings, and not only just us, but everyone who goes to her, she's always there for her. I'm celebrating you, my mother. I'm celebrating all the women in the world who just go beyond themselves. What we used to have, what's still there in Rotary International when we say, service above self. This I think was taken from probably, I can't be right, but from women. Service above self, excuse me. Celebrating you. As I started today with the word imagine, just close your eyes and imagine a gender equal world. Imagine the world where we regard everyone as equal, a world free of bias, stereotypes, discrimination, celebrating all the mothers in the world. 9 months, my dear viewer of Wake Up Africa, 9 months, not only one child, their mothers have given, they've born children and children and children and children. My mom's side, they're 11 plus plus. My dad, they're like 9. I'm looking onto my grandmothers and I love them and I celebrate them. Despite all that, they made sure that each child felt special. I'm celebrating mothers, grandmothers, mothers. I celebrate you. Wake Up Africa appreciates you. Again, if there's a song I could dedicate, Strength of a Woman, Dear Mama, these are American songs sung by, of course, Black origin artists, I'm sure. But we celebrate you. Africa celebrates you. Nani kama mama, who is like a mother. And I like, now that I've brought Shaggy onto the picture, on the song Strength of a Woman, he begins by saying, I wonder if God is a woman, because the world is just so beautiful, and a man with his strength and thinking and everything could not probably think of So much beauty, Shaggy imagines, and it comes into my picture as well. Look at the beauty in the world. I wonder if God is a woman. We celebrate women. Moving on to the wives, they're also mothers, but we celebrate you. We celebrate you. We may not, with again the stereotypes and everything, we may not necessarily tell you we appreciate the food you put on the table. Sometimes we do not even give you the support you need to put that food on the table. But this, I'm looking on to my wife who goes home early, does homework with the kids, make sure that they eat, they sleep well. I go home as long as there's food in the house, probably care less, there's electricity and water, as in met the bills. Yeah. I can't recall, but we're not talking men today. So let me go back to women. I'm celebrating wives and the contributions you put on the table. Some of us do not even know where to buy tomatoes and potatoes and veggies and beef, meat. We don't. But my wife can tell you that shop, that shop, that shop. I celebrate wives and the role you play in the families. There was a day I traveled, and when I came back home, I had, my family was praying and my wife was leading them into a prayer. I was like, I couldn't ask for a better wife. I'm celebrating wives, celebrating you. Despite all the responsibilities you have, you look after us and you look after the family. Wow. There's the phrase that we often use that women can multitask and men cannot. Totally agree. They could be cooking, doing homework, baking here and there, folding clothes, ironing clothes, washing. I'm not sure. I mean, trying to multitask here and there, but I can't beat them. Celebrating wives. As I said, I gave an example of me last night. I woke my wife up to go and give medicine to my little girl that I felt she had fever. So not only that she went to give her medicine, she also checked her temperature, made milk for her, etc., etc. Celebrating wives and the role you play in the families. Again, men may not necessarily come to you and tell you thank you, but on behalf of all men in the world, on behalf of all your children, they say men is the husbands of the first children. On behalf of all of us, I'm celebrating you, and I really want to tell you thank you for your effortless efforts, seamless efforts that you put towards advancing or making sure that the family as a unit moves. It's biblical, and the Bible says a woman, a faulty woman is the one who breaks their own marriages. I'm celebrating all the efforts you put to make sure that your marriage survives. And I'm looking onto the trends, dear viewer of Wake Up Africa, and I'm wondering, I think we have more divorce rates today than back in the days. We're not talking divorce today, I'm celebrating women, but again, this is critical. As I'm celebrating women, I'm celebrating those who value families, those who value prayer life. I think it's TD Jakes or TB Joshua that used to emphasize on the family that prays together stays together. I'm celebrating women. Imagine a gender equal world, a world free of bias, a world free of stereotypes and discrimination. International Women's Day 2025 with the theme Accelerate Action. I'm celebrating sisters, siblings, sisters. You know, I was blessed with three sisters. Three sisters. And they were always, I lost one of them, sisters, and picking her as an example, Salome, my dear sister, rest in peace. Continue to rest in peace. You know, we went to school, primary school, 1 year apart, and she was overprotective of me. Like, leave my brother alone. You know, I'm celebrating sisters all over the world. My elder sister lives in the UK with her beautiful two daughters, Nicole and Natasha. I'm celebrating you all. You know, wherever there's someone coming from the UK, she would send stuff for kids, stuff for me, and necktie. I'm celebrating you. You know, the little fact that you are aware and you appreciate and know, keeping and bear in mind and heart that I have a brother back in Africa, and you say, no, I have a brother, let me send them this and that. I celebrate you, sisters everywhere in the world. You protect the family unit, you protect us, your brothers, the little ones. I remember when little, when I was bullied, I would run to my sister. When I would run short, I would run to my sister. When I did not have cash, I would run to my sister. And they were always there for me. We celebrate you, sisters, all over the world. Sisters, younger, older, we celebrate you. And I'm looking on to the value that you bring into the society, the smiles that you bring into the society. International Women's Day 2025, Accelerate Action. A world, an equal, gender equal world, a world free of bias, a world free of stereotypes, and a world free of discrimination, a world that's diverse, equitable, and inclusive. Alan Subi, you've joined me. Good morning. This is Wake Up Africa, episode 9. We are celebrating you women. How are you? Alan, are you
I'm
there?
fine, my dear. How are you? Good morning.
Good morning, Alan. You don't sound like it's your big day today.
I'm actually very excited. I'm excited. I am honored. I'm feeling extra special today. And I want to thank you for honoring us this morning with this entire show, dedicating it to us. What an honor, really. Thank you so much. Today excites me because I know that the world is stopping to recognize and appreciate us in all our different capacities. So that feels extra special for me. Yeah.
Absolutely. And really, at this juncture, Alan had not gotten to specially thank you, thank Patricia Ndede, thank Aminata Traore from Arusha, thank all the Wake Up Africa team, really in a very special way. I really must say, Alan, at this juncture, that Africa appreciates you. You've left your warm bed and blanket to say, this is Wake Up Africa time. I want to go and pass my thoughts, pass my love to Africa. I want to rewrite Africa's narrative. This is very special. We celebrate you, Alan, on behalf of everyone listening and watching Wake Up Africa right now. We celebrate you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Austin, and Wake Up
I
Africa.
and just to also mention, there's the producer of this show,
Is a
is
lady.
all the way, yes, all the way in the US of A. She's in America now. We are waking up, they're sleeping, but she said, no, Wake Up Africa has to go. Noreen, we appreciate you. Thank you very much. I do not know if you'll be able to join us later onto the call, but Africa, through Wake Up Africa, appreciates you. Alan, over to you. Who do you celebrate today?
Austin, I have so many outstanding women in my life, and I didn't make a list, unfortunately, but I hope I don't miss anyone out. First and foremost, I'd like to recognize my mother because her role went past bringing me into this world to nurturing me, to teaching me life's basic lessons, to raising a strong woman and putting in the work. I am 37 years old today, and yet I'm still her little baby. So I want to give it up to my mom and to all the mothers in the world, because I know the role you play in raising your children in the way that's respectable to society should not go unnoticed. I'd like to also send a special shout out to the lady whose lessons who the lessons I'm picking from my mom, I am investing in her. That's my daughter, Jemima Sempa. I want to give her a special shout out. She's 14 now, and it gives me much pride to raise her and to see how far she's come, to see that the things that we started out when she was way younger, teaching her how to read, and nurturing that love for reading, that curiosity. I see it being manifest today, and I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of myself. I want to send a special shout out to the ladies I met with yesterday, and we started counting the years, and we've been friends for 25, some 28 years. Can you imagine? So I know to all the ladies listening in, you have those long time friends. You don't meet often, but even when you do, it's like you've been in touch. It's like you never left. You know, you're very interested in each other's lives, and you've impacted each other's lives over the years. So I like to celebrate women that have, you know, we Austin, we have been told that we are not real in our friendships, or women, I don't know what not. So when a friendship of women stands the test of time, I want to applaud those friendships. The women entrepreneurs, they have a special place in my heart. Every woman that wakes up to transform their passions into business, into an investment that's going to impact the lives of others, not just women, but even men. I want to celebrate them in a special way. In the previous episodes, we've been talking about Africa being very entrepreneurial, and I want to say that women are leading. Women are leading. They're on the front line of business in Africa. So I want to celebrate them. I want to celebrate my sisters. I'm born with two sisters, mothers, wives, and I know that they play such a crucial role in their families and in their other spaces of influence. I want to celebrate them. Austin, allow me stop there for now.
Alan, it's International Women's Day. I cannot stop you, but you've requested that I allow you to stop. Yes, but not stopping, but rather these friends you've been with for the past 25 years, you know, they're no longer friends, they're family, they're part of your life.
Sisters,
And at this
yes.
juncture, allow me to celebrate them with you. Can you mention them? Do you want to mention their names?
I'm going to go ahead and mention their names. I have my oldest broom, you know, those ones that know the corners. She's called Belinda Katuram. I celebrate you. I want to celebrate Didian Mukunde. She's my maid of honor. She has gone on to become a pastor. She speaks life into me. I want to celebrate her. I want to celebrate Ivy Ndagire. I want to celebrate Edith Namleme, and celebrate Rose Ngozi, and to celebrate Brenda. Now the last name eludes me. I want to celebrate Mai Naka today, Mary Luswata. Yeah, those are the ones in the category of sisters.
Are you forgetting my very own that I know?
Jesus Christ. Oh Lord, yes, I was with her yesterday.
Special dedication to her.
Yeah, you
to
know,
them too.
Austin, I was saving the best for last.
Bring it on.
Yes, I want to celebrate Fiona Kaitesi and Samantha Freedom. I honor you ladies. I celebrate you for the solid friendship that we have built for so many years, and to celebrate you for yesterday, Austin. Oh my goodness, how could I forget? Yesterday,
Yes.
I called Samantha, and from the sound of my voice, she didn't wait for me to say anything. She just said, "Where are you? I'm coming." Those are the friendships that I want to celebrate this morning.
I tell you, I always refer to such friends as angels living with us, and they try to hide their wings, but we can see them through our hearts in their
True.
deeds. Truly, we love and celebrate them. Alan, the theme for 2025 is accelerate action.
Yeah.
For the
Yeah.
International Women's Day 2025, what is your call on the theme? What is it that you would really wish to see the world does towards a gender equal world?
So for all the years that we have celebrated the International Women's Day, we have been advocating for equality. Not that we want to escalate our position or pivot it or elevate it above men, but we want to be given equal opportunities. We want to be on platforms where men are, and we want our voices to be heard. So a lot of work has gone into that, from civil society to the women in the corporate world. I recognize academia. I recognize all the women that have over the years built into this theme of equality. Now, because they have done some work and it continues to be done year in, year out, this year's theme to me is accelerate. We know that there's been work done, but now let's do more. How do we do more? How do we achieve more? How do we bring more women on board with this drive? So that's what's speaking to me this year. And in my own little way, I want to be able to speak more into the lives of women, empowering them some more. And I've been blessed to be in spaces and to be a part of projects where, our hearts beat for such ventures. So, I'm glad that in 2025, we are not trying to find our theme, we are maintaining it, equality, but we are now wanting to accelerate all actions. Yeah.
Totally. Alan Subi, there are mothers out there who are listening to Wake Up Africa today or tomorrow. They will be listening to Wake Up Africa. Africa pays all the attention on you now. What do you have to say to the African mother, to the African sister, to the African wife, to the African girlfriend?
Um, I want to say that our role should never be understated. I know that as women, we are very emotional. We are very in tune with our emotions. So there are circumstances that may feel like they're bringing us down. They may feel like they're they're making us question our God-given role. I want to pass on a word of encouragement to all the women in their different capacities this morning, that let's not be moved. Let's stand strong. Let's keep making our opinions heard. Let's keep raising our voices. Let's stick to to equality, and when doors of opportunities open unto us, let's walk through them with boldness. Let's totally embrace the the roles we're supposed to be playing. If you've been given a role as a mother, you've you've taken on the responsibility of bringing children in this world. Don't leave it to anyone else, but embrace it, and invest time, invest resources into that responsibility. If you've been given a responsibility to be a wife, don't take it lightly. Yeah. Be the better half. And of course, there's a reason why we are being called the better half. The other half is good, but we are better. So let's continue to portray and to live out our roles. Yeah, women CEOs, women business leads. Let's continue empowering people's lives. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Alan. And allow me to recall, I think you had probably in Africa the first woman vice president. Is that the case? Is my recollection correct?
The first woman president,
Vice
woman vice
president.
president,
Was it not from
Wandera
Uganda?
Kazibwe.
Kazibwe, yes.
Speciosa Wandera Kazibwe.
This
Yes.
year's, yes. I want you to part before you tell us what's happening in Uganda, but tell us what is it for as we accelerate action, what does it take for a woman to hold such a high position? What's your take? What do you think? Women can, yes, I believe, and as we celebrate women because of your outstanding achievements, however little they are, they amount insurmountable. What do you think is your take for a woman to wear such shoes? We have in Tanzania the president, Dr. Samia Suluhu
Yeah.
Hassan, and I celebrate her. What do you think takes, Alan, because you're in that space, not political space, but you're in a leadership role? What does it take to be a woman leader?
First and foremost, and the reason I started out by thanking you for honoring us today is because, Austin, I know that it takes a man to give a platform to a woman. It takes a man that believes in a woman, that has seen something in a woman and said, let me give you a platform, let me hand you a microphone. And I'm glad that we have over the years been given those opportunities, because there's a man out there that has recognized the good brains, the good heads on our shoulders, and given us a platform. And then because, and you've brought up a good example, Speciosa Wandera Kazibwe, because she was given a platform, she has since opened the way for many other women. Right now, our prime minister is a woman. Our vice president is a woman. It's not even the head of KCCA is a woman. There are so many. It's not even a head turner anymore. It does not make very strong news headlines anymore. We've grown accustomed to it. It's daily bread. So we thank the men that first led the way, and then stretched out her hand to pull us. So what it takes, I think that had Speciosa done a shoddy job, then the doors would have been closed for us. But
Absolutely.
because she got there and did what she was supposed to do, then and it was still President Yoweri Museveni, then he has seen value and has brought on so many women on board right now. So what does it take? It takes good work. It takes integrity. It takes using your voice to do good. When you get to a position of influence or power, knowing that you're going to speak for the voiceless. You're going to represent our interests. Yesterday, I attended an event still in honor of women, and another minister in charge of youth was a guest of honor. And listening to her speak, I said, how far we have come, because she's maybe you've heard about her, Honorable Nyamtoro. She's really someone that takes every opportunity to speak, to represent the interests of young women. She speaks into young women aspirations. She really represents us well. So it takes that, having a heart for others and not just your own interests. Yeah. So if we stay on this path, I know that as women we're going to accelerate our theme of equality.
Totally. And I truly am celebrating you, Alan. I'm celebrating women all over Africa. I'm celebrating, I do not know. We should have had multiple Women's Day. We should have had 365 days just to celebrate women. And this is how we're gonna accelerate action in my humble submission. Alan, Africa is listening. What is happening in Uganda? What has been happening for the past week? What is upcoming in Uganda? If there's any plan for Women's Day today?
The
And if men
National
are
Women's
invited, I'll fly down.
Yeah, Austin, you're invited any day, every day. Yeah, so the national celebrations for Women's Day are happening in Chankwanzi. And we are speaking into the theme. I can't wait for the president's deliberations on the theme. But yeah, they are happening. What else is happening in Uganda? Today is a good day, so I'll stick I'll stick to the positive. I was being led to to say something that's not exactly positive.
We
but
celebrate women today.
we are
Yeah.
celebrating women. Corporate organizations have put on quite the show the whole week. The whole week I have been seeing activity. I've been seeing activity after activity. Total Energies, Vivo Energy, the Uganda Marketers Society organized such a beautiful event yesterday. Women in Business have organized something. FemFort, that's civil society, have organized some. When you go through people's status updates, you're seeing that the whole week has been filled with activity. MTN Uganda, Uganda Bureau of Statistics, all of them have had activities. Capital Markets Authority. So yeah, that's what's been happening. It's been a week of celebration in the women's world.
Beautiful. Alan, thank you so much. Please, this is the one day in 365 days that, the world stops. Whatever we're doing to celebrate you, please have the blast, have the best. Treat yourself onto the best meal. Pass my love to the girls. It's your day. I wish I was in Uganda, but again, joining you would have been a crime. But I know deep in my heart, I celebrate you.
Thank you so much, Austin. Thank you for having me this morning. And lastly, I just want to give a big shout out to all the women being celebrated today. It's our day. Let's embrace it. Let's have fun. Have a nice weekend.
You should embrace it and you should have fun. And I wish you a lovely weekend. Thank you, Alan. Let's meet again into next week. On to the Wake Up Africa. We'll share the topic later on.
All right.
Alan Subi, all the way from Kampala, Uganda, celebrated, and she is celebrating women. We are celebrating women on this 9th episode of Wake Up Africa as we commemorate International Women's Day. Spectacular. I've met Alan a year or two ago, and the rest is history. We've gone from being strangers to being friends to celebrating. Now we're producing Wake Up Africa. It's just amazing. Once again, imagine a gender equal world. Imagine what Alan just shared with us. The contribution. She spoke about the belief that President Yoweri Museveni has to women and giving them the chances, giving them the opportunities to be in the power. This is where now we get to the levels of gender equal world. I celebrate the Vice President of Uganda, the woman that we met 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago? Or was it last year? No, last year. We met last year in Uganda, and we had one-on-one with her. She's an amazing woman. I celebrate you in as much as I celebrate my own president yet again, looking onto the roles and responsibilities you have running and managing the country's affair. Every single detail matters. Some of us might think, oh, but they have assistants, but they also have their own will. They have their own decision, they have their own powers. They can say this and that, they can do this and that, but they say service above self, service above self. We celebrate you. I would like at this juncture to also celebrate all my friends. Oh my good Lord, I have fantastic friends. I can, spend the rest of the time just to mention every friend that I have in my life. And I will not finish, even if I did 365 days of Wake Up Africa to celebrate women, to celebrate my friends, the girls, women, daughters, all my days. I'm so blessed. I celebrate you all. I must say this, Chancha, on the classes that I conduct every month onto corporate hosting, onto the public speaking, the girls that come here are just very special. They come to class and they leave a mark, not only in the class but in the world, and I'm happy. The little impact that you bring into the society, the changes that they want to see, it's just amazing. I'm celebrating all my friends, my female friends, wherever you are. I cannot mention names because I'll have to go through my phone book, which has 4,000 plus contacts, and probably 80% are girls. I celebrate you. I always say my life gets better by the day because of that value addition you bring into my life. And I'm happy that the little time that we share. I'm sorry I can't give you much time. There was a time when I remember this joke, and I really like to use it every time someone tells me I'm not visible, I can't be seen. So there was a day I was just in between airports, and my mom was like, "Yo, man, you're nowhere to be seen." Then my response to her was, "Mom, I can't even see myself." You know, but the little time that we spend to appreciate our friendship, I must say it's highly valuable. I value you. I appreciate you. I looked this morning, I have like 506 messages that are unread. Most of them come from my friends, my female friends. I'm sorry that I really even sometimes can't make 2 or 3 minutes to respond to your messages, but you still write, you still appreciate, you still see me around, and you would still send a comment. Um, Post a comment or celebrate me in my endeavors, but you're always there for me. You always give me that support. You always tell me do's and don'ts. I truly appreciate you. I'm celebrating all my friends. Again, I can't mention the names because I will, do the reminder of the program, just appreciating you. So all my friends, all my female friends out there, I want you to know I could be a bad friend not responding to your text messages. I could be a bad friend not making time, but it's never intentional. And I am celebrating you on this World International Day 2020, International Women's Day 2025. My brother Remy joining us from Rwanda. Remy, good morning and welcome to the ninth episode of Wake Up Africa. It's International Women's Day. We are celebrating women. How are you, Remy?
Morning, Gustin. Yes, I'm good. How are you?
I am better than ever, Remy. How is Rwanda this fine Saturday morning?
Rwanda, we are doing very well, and things
Fantastic.
are going well. And we are wishing all the women's out there to have a wonderful day today.
Allow me to crack a quick joke, but don't just take it literally. They say most beautiful women in Africa come from Rwanda. Do you want to second that statement?
I think it's not a joke, it's a statement, actually.
I will leave that at that. Remy, tell me, who are you celebrating today?
I'm celebrating each and everyone who is out there, each and every woman out there who is doing their best, who are trying every day to be the better versions of themselves, and who are trying to make our continent better and our world better.
Do you
Thank you.
want to give names and titles?
Not really, actually. Shout out to all my friends, females out there, to my mother, yeah, and to everyone, really. Mm, Regardless of all.
Fantastic. So we have the theme for 2025 that says accelerate action, and the objective of this theme is really to see that the world gets to an equal level of gender. What is your take on the theme?
My take is I think we have been really talking about women empowerment and equal gender in every laws, but I think we have achieved that already. Because if I look where I work right now, female number
Mhm.
is very high. We are like 60% or 70, around 70 actually, of female than male. In our government, the statistics are there. We have more than 60% women in our government. I think it's there. So we are no longer talking about empowering women, but more of embracing the change and accepting that we are no longer in that era of having the female lagging behind, but now everyone is equal. Even if you look at the competition capability of doing things, women are nailing it. They are doing very well. So I think we have got there. It's just to maintain the momentum and never look back, but look forward.
Absolutely. You went to see your parents last weekend, Remy, last couple of days, last past episodes. How is your beautiful mother?
My beautiful man, I think that's a hard question actually, because I was planning to go there actually this week, but yeah, so she's doing well, and I think she's in a happy place right now because she did a great job raising us up, and all of us have grown up. I think it's everyone has finished high school, universities. It's just only like one who is remaining, and now I think it's time for her to enjoy her life and enjoy the work that she has done with us, and we are trying to do better in involving her in our life each and every day and doing things that will make her feel appreciated. So yeah, that's all I can say right now.
Absolutely. So I've asked you that question because at the beginning of the program, when I started, I celebrated mothers, and you're also celebrating your mother, and I had wanted you to give us an example of the word resilience in relation to your mother as you saw her struggle raising you guys up. Are you able to tell us that? Are you able to share with us some of the critical examples that you really saw your mother, go through a hard time just to see you guys go to school, just to see you guys had a meal on the table?
All right. What I can say is she's done a great job in that, but because I remember when we were very young, uh, she hasn't did her universities because from what I hear, when both my father and mother, when they started doing university, it's when the genocide hit. So it was postponed. They didn't finish, and then they taken another attempt in around 2005, 2002, sorry, and up. So when we were growing up, my father was a teacher in high school, and my mother was going to school, which means it was really hard to maintain raising up kids, but also attending school. And after she finished the school, her university. She was working and also supporting my father to go to the university as well and raising us up as well. So I think she did very well in that role
Oh,
because imagine doing all those things all at once and you are the only provider in the family. See, it's a it's a really hard thing to handle. I think actually now, if that I'm thinking about it, we haven't really taken a step to sit back and really appreciate her what she did back then because that's really a hard thing and a difficult thing to handle, and she did it very well. Yeah.
next time when you see her, just tell her, reminder that that Africa and the world is appreciative of what she did to raise such a fine young man as Remy and your siblings. Remy, Africa is watching Wake Up Africa. Africa is listening to you. What is your take? Speak to the young women, speak to the mothers, speak to the wives in Africa onto their special day today.
Sorry, come again?
I'm saying, Wake Up Africa, the entire African continent is listening. Speak to the mothers, speak to the girls, speak to the sisters, speak to the wives in Africa on their very special day today. What is your take on the day?
Um, my message to young women out there, mothers, wives, is don't forget what your role is in the world. Is to provide life and to maintain life in our lives. Most of the time, we get caught up in the evolving world. What is happening? I want to match the energy of everyone around me, but we forget really the core value of of human beings, but specifically females. If you are a woman, if you are a wife, if you are a young woman growing up, know that you are the provider of life. You maintain the life in our world. So it's a very big role to handle, and it's also a big task to handle. And I encourage you to maintain that, and also know that we, as a young man, but also speaking on behalf of others, we value that critical role that you have, and we respect you for that, and we'll keep supporting you in all the ways that we can. Thank you.
Absolutely. And correct me if I'm wrong again with this fact. I think Rwanda, as a country, has achieved, I think, probably number one or two globally in terms of bringing gender equality. And you rightly said earlier that you have over 60% of female representation in different roles. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So this is again a shout out to Paul Kagame on to, accelerating the action to seeing a gender equal world. So what is happening in Rwanda on a lighter note? Do you have any celebrations for the women today in the streets, as we heard what is happening in Uganda past week and coming week? We are celebrating in Tanzania in a region called Arusha, and two or three incidences when I met the regional commissioner of Arusha, spoke about a whole week of celebration where just people go onto the street, eat meat, man. They just eat game, they eat other meat, but just celebrating women. And we have the female president in our country, Dr. Samia. Totally an honor. What's happening in Rwanda?
I haven't really following the news lately, like in past 2 or 3 days, but usually how we celebrate this day, we celebrate it in on village level, where people meet together to appreciate women's in the village. But also we have a place, a selected village, where on the country level, the first lady and other government officials, especially women as well, they join the community, and then they appreciate the ones who are doing really well in the communities. Shout out to all those who have played their role in empowering other young women and promoting gender in the families. So yeah, that's what we usually do.
Absolutely, Remy, as you pass around those nice streets of Rwanda and you look onto all those beautiful doves that you have there, remember to pass a smile and wish them a happy International Women's Day.
I will do. I will do. Thank you,
This is
Austin.
Wake Up Africa, and you and me, Remy, are celebrating women in Africa on this International Women's Day by dedicating the entire program. So thank you so much for making time on this Saturday morning to celebrate women in Africa and women in the world, appreciating the values that they bring into into the society, and we continue to appreciate and celebrate them as you and me accelerate the action.
Yeah, thank you so much. Shout out to the women out there and enjoy their day. Take a sip of a glass of either wine or an alcoholic drink for those who doesn't drink, and appreciate yourselves. And yeah, we cheers
Truly,
together. Yeah.
truly, women need to appreciate themselves as well. Thank you so much, Remy. Up until next week, this is Wake Up Africa. Thank you so much for your invaluable contribution, and let's talk next week.
All right. Bye bye, Austin. Let's
Bye, my
talk next
brother.
week.
Thank you so much. That was Jean Remy, all the way from Rwanda, also appreciating, extending a lot of love from Wake Up Africa to all the African mothers, wives, sisters, friends, women out there as we celebrate International Women's Day, which is dubbed Accelerate Action. And we truly want to imagine, we don't want to imagine anymore, we want to accelerate action towards a gender equal world. Wake Up Africa is doing that, and I'm sure all of you watching Wake Up Africa this morning agree with me that we are, and we have the role to the world that we want to see, that, gender equal world is achieved sooner than later. It's going there in Africa. we through Wake Up Africa will make sure that it is there. And interestingly, I think it comes to my mind that we have more female correspondents of Wake Up Africa than male correspondents, because Wake Up Africa has Remy and Elliot and Mr. Talks in Nigeria, who are male reps, but we have Alan Subi, we have Aminata, we have Patricia Ndede, we have, the producer, Noreen, all the way from the USA. It's fantastic. So Wake Up Africa is an example of really accelerated action towards gender equal world. Celebrating you all. It's unfortunate that I'm engaged this morning on an International Women's Day, an event that is happening yet again at the Moroccan embassy. The Moroccan ambassador asked me, and I appreciate. I took the honor to go and spend time with the women at the embassy this morning. So unfortunately, the program has to be cut short within the next 10 minutes. But I want to really finish up by appreciating women in different professions across all disciplines. Why do I want to appreciate women, professional women in different disciplines? Because you are putting up a light to other girls who are looking onto you, to other boys who are looking onto you and saying, if she could make it, I am sure I can make it. So this is again, shout out to all the women in all your disciplines, all professional women, and I can name a million of them. We have our female president, Dr. Samia. We have the speaker. Whoa, yeah, I need to celebrate my speaker, Tanzania's speaker, Dr. Tulia Ackson. She is also the president of, I stand to be corrected a title, and I'm sorry, Madam Speaker, but I think she is the president of all the speakers in the world. I celebrate her. I'm celebrating you, Dr. Talia Axon. I'm celebrating all the women in different sectors, in different fields, in different ministries. Again, I said this week in Tanzania, we had the 11th conference on oil and gas in Tanzania for the region. This is where I got to meet the Secretary General of the EAC. I met fantastic permanent secretary from Kenya. Oh, she's such a lovely lady. Let me see. Should have a card close by here. But we had different leaders coming from all over Africa. Yes, Irene Batebe, she is the permanent secretary of Uganda. Irene Batebe, from Uganda. Alan, I should have mentioned this when I spoke to you earlier. I met your fantastic permanent secretary in the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development of Uganda. I luckily got a card right in my pocket. Yeah. So I celebrate you, and I celebrate all the women in all the professions in the world. We look up to you. The world is looking up to you. And we truly celebrate you. Your contribution to the world is insurmountable. We want to celebrate you. So I said I should finish on a high note, celebrating women in different professions, and by profession here, I don't necessarily mean that, you've gone into a formal education, you've acquired that degree as a lawyer, as a doctor. You could just be, and this shouldn't be seen as belittling women, but you could be that chef, you could be that entrepreneur. Alan spoke about entrepreneurs. You could be cooking in the streets for civil workers. You could every profession. Those who appreciate, we have those in the sewing industry, we have tailors, we have fashion designers, we have painters. I have a beautiful paint right by my wall. It was done by a woman I celebrate so much. She is following up keenly this program, and I know that she knows that I celebrate her. Women who've written books. We're reading lots of books written by female authors who have poured their hearts, poured their knowledge onto writing books. We celebrate women pastors. Alan Subi from Uganda also spoke about, a maid of honor who is also a pastor now. We celebrate you all. I mean, Wow. So why do we celebrate women in different professions? Because we have young girls, we have young boys who look up to you. And the only thing that we say back in our hearts that if she did it, if she can do it, I'm sure I can do it. I'm celebrating in a very special way Engineer Zena Said of Zanzibar. She is the cabinet, no, she's not the cabinet. She is the chief secretary and the secretary of the Revolutionary Council of Zanzibar. Engineer Zena Said, every time I meet her, I tell her and I speak explicitly that she's a power woman. You know, I celebrate you. I celebrate all the women in the world. I celebrate again my mothers, the wives, my sisters, my female friends, women in all the professions, looking on to everything that you do. You're doing it to see yourselves get better, but you're doing to see us get better, but even more, you're doing it for the world because you're not doing it for yourself, you're doing it for your families. And when you know, it starts with the family, it goes into the village, it goes into the city, it goes into the country, it goes into the continent, and the entire world just get better because of that effort. Don't look at it as a little effort, that effort that you put. And as I conclude Wake Up Africa this morning, I want to really appreciate every man who support women to do what they do. Okay. I have a friend of mine. We're in the same WhatsApp group, and she sells very nice vitumbua. When you come to Tanzania, make sure you ask for kitumbua. She sells very nice vitumbuas. And you know, I appreciate you because that work that you do is amazing. And my colleague has just walked into the office. I celebrate you as well, Beatrice. She's an amazing program manager in my office. I totally celebrate her. And everyone, you know, you pour your heart onto the work that you do. You are celebrated. Again, International Women's Day is not doing justice to just have one day dedicated to celebrating all the women. I celebrate all my line managers who have been women, you know, from country directors, different work organization, workspaces that I've done, on to up until I stopped, you know, formal employment. I'm celebrating you because I can attest, you know, I can attest the talents that you saw in me and you said, Austin, you can rise beyond. You know, it's just amazing. I'm celebrating my mentor. So I have two mentors. I have one female mentor and I have one male mentor. My female mentor is in Africa, is in Tanzania, um, is um, is here in Dar es Salaam. I celebrate you and allow me at this juncture to celebrate to explicitly say that I'll be seeing you in a couple of minutes at the Moroccan embassy event. Juliana, I celebrate you. You know, she is my mentor, and she always says that Austin, you're not a fraction of what you can do yet. You know, she brings greatness. I'm not there yet. Every time I fail, I say I'm failing her, but again, she never gives up on me. I'm celebrating you, Juliana, and thank you so much for not giving up on me. Yeah, so we celebrate International Women's Day 2025. Wake Up Africa celebrates all the women. I received warm regards from Patricia Ndede of Kenya, the correspondent of Wake Up Africa from Kenya. She says she's passing all the love to everyone following and watching Wake Up Africa. She is running very much lots of errands this morning. She's unable to join us, but she's shares the love and will be able to join her and still celebrate. They say the entire month is just to celebrate women, so I celebrate women for the remainder of the month. We celebrate you and all the good work that you do. Noreen, once again, thank you so much. I know as Africa wakes up, you're going to sleep, but you said no, 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 no. It's Wake Up Africa, and it's a commitment that you have that I truly celebrate. You are an example of all the women who put commitment to seeing things happen, and I celebrate you all. This is Wake Up Africa as we come to the end of Wake Up Africa on Saturday, the 8th of March. It's International Women's Day. Oh, my wife just popped in as well. I'm seeing a text message from her. I celebrate you, Teddy. I know you've been following up the program. I celebrate you so much. Um, you and all the wives in the world, you and all the mothers in the world, you and all the sisters in the world, you and all the friends, the female friends in the world, you as a professional woman and all the professional women in the world, you are celebrated. And this truly marks the end of Wake Up Africa. Eighth episode. I'm sorry, it has to be cut short again. I'm going to celebrate now women at the Moroccan embassy vividly. Okay, it's a packed event. Women entrepreneurs have been there since yesterday, doing some training. They're going to exhibit some of the products. Some ambassadors are going to be there. We have the French ambassador to Tanzania, who is also a female. I'm celebrating her and all other ambassadors present in the space that are female. You know, you had to travel from your countries to go to work into other countries. They celebrate women in all professions. I celebrate it. It's International Women's Day. I think next year, inshallah, being also the month of fasting for both Muslims and us Christians, next year, I think, from what Alan was speaking, we should be coming with a better program. I want Wake Up Africa to really bring more women into the space as we celebrate them left, right, and center. Have nothing less to say because I have a lot more to say, but we celebrate you. We celebrate the nuns. We celebrate the clergy who have, gone beyond, dedicated their lives to spreading love, to spreading the gospel, to spreading religion in the world. We celebrate you because that's how love is transmitted from one heart to the other. We celebrate you. My mother, I celebrate you. I can't speak, within the couple of seconds that are left, but I celebrate you. I celebrate International Women's Day. Africa celebrates you. All men in the world, starting with myself, I represent all the men in Africa and all the men in the world appreciate and celebrate you. Please treat yourselves today. Have a good time today. Love yourselves more today. It's your day. It's International Women's Day. Up until next Saturday, this is Austin Makani. Wake Up Africa. Thank you so much for watching and following Wake Up Africa as we celebrate women, as we rewrite the narratives, as we accelerate action to seeing worlds with equal gender spaces. Thank you so much for watching Wake Up Africa. See you next week, Saturday, 7 to 9. Wake Up Africa. Remember to like, remember to subscribe, remember to share. You can comment and we'll take your comment.